Welcome to Truth Be Told About Going Wild. I'm your host, Robert Hensley, and this is the podcast inspired by the principles of personal rewilding. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little about how our sense of adventure, curiosity, spending time outdoors, but not just spending time immersed in nature, but observing and learning about nature can help us to feel more deeply connected. Spending time outdoors can feel restorative in ways that are sometimes difficult to explain. A walk beneath a canopy of trees, the scent of damp soil after rain, or the sight of birds gathering among native wildflowers can create a quiet sense of belonging. Yet many people move through natural spaces without ever really noticing the natural living systems around them. Learning to identify trees and native plants transforms the outdoors from a backdrop into a community of familiar neighbors. Through observation and curiosity, we begin to feel more connected to nature and more aware of our place within it. Modern life often separates people from the rhythms of the natural world. Screens, schedules, and urban environments can make the seasons feel abstract, but trees and native plants offer a direct invitation back into awareness. They mark the passage of time with budding leaves, blossoms, fruit, and autumn colors. Once we learn their names and patterns, landscapes become more meaningful. A grove of oak trees is no longer just woods. A patch of goldenrod is no longer just weeds. Recognition creates relationship. Learning trees is one of the easiest ways to begin to reconnect with nature. Trees are long-lived, visible year-round, and deeply tied to the local ecosystem. A person who learns to distinguish a maple from a sycamore or an eastern red cedar from a white pine begins to notice details that they once overlooked: bark texture, leaf arrangement, branching patterns, and the shape of the seeds. Over time, these observations sharpen attention and encourage mindfulness. Instead of just rushing through a park or our neighborhood, people can slow down and look more carefully. Native plants deepen this connection further because they tell the ecological story of a place. Unlike ornamental species imported from other regions, native plants evolved alongside local birds, insects, fungi, and wildlife over thousands of years. Milkweed supports monarch butterflies. Oaks host hundreds of insect species and feed birds and other animals. Native wildflowers nourish pollinators, adapted specifically to them and their environment. By learning which plants belong naturally to a region, people begin to understand that ecosystems are not just random collections of greenery, but intricate relationships built through time. Observation also fosters emotional connection. Psychologists often describe the calming effects of nature exposure, but active engagement creates an even stronger experience. Identifying a familiar tree on a daily walk can feel grounding, almost like greeting an old friend. Watching the first trillium bloom each spring or noticing migrating birds returning to native berry-producing shrubs creates anticipation and continuity. These recurring encounters remind us that we are participants in a seasonal cycle rather than observers standing apart from them. There is also humility in learning the natural world. The more we study trees and the native plants, the more we realize how complex ecosystems truly are. Forests communicate through underground fungal networks. Certain seeds germinate only after fire or cold winters. Insects depend on specific host plants to survive. Even a small backyard may contain dozens of interconnected species. This awareness can inspire respect and stewardship. People are often more motivated to protect what they understand and value personally. Importantly, reconnecting with nature does not require remote wilderness or expert knowledge. It can begin with a single tree outside an apartment window, or a patch of native flowers in a community garden. Field guides, local nature walks, and plant identification apps make learning accessible to anyone. Over time, curiosity builds naturally. One question leads to another. What tree is this? Why are bees visiting this particular flower? Which birds eat these berries? The landscape becomes richer with every answer. Communities also benefit when people learn about the native plants and trees. Native landscaping supports biodiversity, reduces water use, and creates habitat in urban and suburban environments. Shared knowledge can strengthen local identity as residents become proud of the species unique to their region. Schools, parks, and neighborhoods that teach ecological literacy help cultivate not only environmental awareness, but also a sense of belonging and care. In many ways, learning the natural world is an act of attention. Naming a tree or recognizing a native flower may seem small, Yet these moments accumulate into a deeper relationship with place. The outdoors become less anonymous and more alive with meaning. As familiarity grows, so does connectivity, not only to nature itself, but also to the seasons, to the local environment, and to the larger web of life to which all humans are a part. By observing trees and native plants closely, we begin to rediscover something essential. The natural world is not separate from us. It surrounds us, sustains us, and invites us in with a relationship every day. And all it asks in return is that we take notice. Thank you for listening today. I'd like to remind you that there are 2 opportunities every week for new content from the Truth Be Told family of podcasts on the Club Paranormal channel on YouTube. That's Tony Sweet with the original Truth Be Told every Friday. And of course, every Monday, Truth Be Told about going wild. Both of those shows go live at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern in their respective days. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or would like to learn more about personal rewilding, please visit my website at www.rhnaturereconnect.com. Again, that's rhnaturereconnectaltogether.com. And until next time.